What is up and welcome back, and today I'm real hyped to bring you a brand new controller. The one is going to be from Flydigi and it's called the Apex 4. Now this is going to be a higher end controller. The price tag is going to be 160 USD here in the United States. It is going to be a controller that rivals the Elite 2, the Battle Beaver, and also the Scuff Instinct Pro. So it is going to be a controller that brings a lot to the table. Now, I also do want to say that I did receive this controller as a promo, but this review is going to be very objective. I am going to give you my honest opinion of what I think, if it is a good controller or a bad controller. So with that said, let's dive right into all the small little details. Now, off the start, I definitely want to say that this controller impressed me a whole lot. It actually performed very nicely and it has a lot of good qualities in it. Like I said, it's just my honest opinion, and I'm going to compare it to the Elite 2 because that's a controller I use a whole lot. Now we take a close look to start off. Definitely love the aesthetics. Looks very futuristic, very sleek looking. Love the build quality of it. I'll give you a full tour so you can see what the controller looks like. Just look at that. Has some grips right here on the back, similar to the Elite. Comes with paddles. Look at the quality of the triggers. You press down, they have some texture right there as well. USB-C connection. The triggers feel very nice. Also do want to mention, when I plugged it in and started playing, you got no stick drift, and that's something that I have had a whole bunch of Elite 2s. They tend to wear down after a year or so, a year and a half. Even got lucky one time and it didn't have stick drift for a whole year. So, but I have had the bad fortune that even getting a brand new Elite 2 out the box has a tiny bit of stick drift. So I was pleasantly surprised that this one out the box, no stick drift whatsoever. And I haven't had that in a while. I've been playing with stick drift a little bit. So not having it on your character, very good move to do. So that's going to be the aesthetics, and what you do get in the box, you are going to get a braided cable. This is going to be the braided cable you get. Now when in Elite 2 you also get a braided cable, so you can tell the build quality of these cables is very good. Happy to see it. Okay, so you do get that. You also get some promos right here. Then you know about some of their other products that they have. And then you do get some instructions. One side is going to be Chinese, but then the other side is going to be English. So don't worry about it. They do take care of you with that. And also something you have to know is that this controller is only going to be for PC or for the Switch. You can also hook it up to your Android or the iOS. Okay, so as you can tell, definitely it doesn't have anything that says that it's for the PlayStation or for the Xbox. So for right now, it's just going to be for what we mentioned. Maybe down the line they'll have something. I think they definitely should add the PlayStation connection or the Xbox. But for me, I am recently got a PC, so was able to try it out with the PC, and like I said, it worked fantastically. Now you're also going to get in the box a dongle if you want to connect it in that way, right? So that's going to be that connection. And you do get a couple of little extra accessories, right, that you can use. Now these little blocks right here, you can replace the name right here. You can add your own logo if you like, but you do have to carve it out. Then you take the face cover off and you can place it right there. So definitely that looks very nice with the LEDs, and I'm going to show you how that looks right now. So we are going to connect the controller. Let's plug this bad boy in, then we're going to turn it on like we talked about earlier, the on button. Just look at that. That looks very nice. Like I said, you can imagine putting your own logo right here. right? That's just going to stay there permanently. And then with the LED switching color. You can tell you have an interactive screen right here in the center. And again, with the app, the Apex 4 also comes with an app that you can load to your computer. You can change this right here to make it your own. You can have a GIF going or your logo again, whatever you like right here. Changing, you can even put a little meme there if you do want to have that, right? That switches, changes, that's interactive. So very nice to see something like that in a controller. Very innovative. I love to see companies doing different things, pushing the limits. And this Apex 4, man, very impressive so far. So this is how the controller looks with the lights off. You can tell it looks very amazing with the LEDs. Have a lot of color popping in different directions. Try to zoom in right there on the name. You can make that your own, where the Flydigi is at. You can draw out your own logo right here or your own name. Also with the interactive screen, you can add your own GIF. Let me tell you, it looks a lot better in person. The camera does sort of blur out some of the LEDs because it's a little bit too bright, but in person it looks really clean. This is becoming actually one of my favorite controllers. Something different, especially the aesthetics, and then it performs very good. So two things combining, amazing. So let's get into a couple differences. Like I said, I am going to compare it to the Elite 2 because this controller right here is my main, right? I've been playing with the Elite 2. It's the one I felt the most comfortable with. I did give a pass on the Scuff Instinct Pro. I did do a review on that, but I didn't feel so comfortable. One of the reasons for it is I do love how the Elite 2 has these type of paddles, right? Where they all line up on the outer side. So you're just pressing down. You're pressing down on the outer sides, pressing down. You can tell I took the paddles off the Scuff. I just like these paddles for some reason to be on my right side, and I like the ones that came with the Elite 2 on the left, right? You press down on these. But if you take a look right here at the Apex 4, the setup for these paddles is going to be like this. Looks very similar to the Scuff Instinct Pro, but it's going to be different because with the Scuff Instinct Pro, this button is closer over here, and the cutout of it is going to be inverse. Or imagine having this button, how it is. You see how it's like a triangle. Imagine the triangle being flipped like this all the way around. Imagine having this button over here and this one on that side. That's how it looks like on the Instinct Pro for Scuff. And what that does to you is when you're holding it like this, right? You tend to press down, and then with the other one, you're going to be pressing forward like this. Press down and then pressing forward like that. With a button like that on this side. That to me didn't feel too comfortable. Even though you can press with this one, you can see it. You can still press it down by pressing forward like that. But I just like pressing down. I like pressing down and then pressing down like that. See, I'm pressing down instead of pressing forward. So that right there is a difference, and I was very happy to have this set up like this, because when I did see this controller online, I was thinking to myself, man, it looks very similar to the Scuff. What if it is like the Scuff? I might not like it. But when I did receive it and I saw that you do press down, that right there, it was a very nice detail for me. It does work very good how my fingers move, because I'm just been using the Elite 2 for a long time, and I just got my fingers, the muscle memory is to press down. So I would have to learn a new skill to press forward. That would take a little while to get my fingers with that muscle memory. So very happy that the paddles are in that way. Again, I do love the grippiness it has right here in the back. Look at that. Very similar to the Elite 2. Elite 2 has the grip underneath it, right? And then some of it up top. Now up top you are going to get this face cover, which is all smooth all around, and to me that doesn't bother me at all. As you can tell, right, I hold the control right here. The main grip that I have is going to be from down here, so this gets a pass for me. It does work out. The only drawback, as you can tell, look, because it's so smooth, when you are touching the face cover, you do tend to leave your fingerprints all over it. But right here it does show up a little bit more because the camera is reflecting the light. So there you have it. That's going to be a minor detail for the cosmetics for me, for leaving your fingerprints. And if you think about it, definitely with this LEDs, if you are using it in a darker room, you're not going to see the fingerprints as much, and the LEDs are really going to pop. So love to see that detail when you're using it. Looks very fantastic, like I mentioned, the LEDs. Now, something else that's going to be different that I do want to point out that I can see it being a game changer is going to be the D-pad. Because look at the D-pad, it does sit somewhat high compared to other controllers. Other controllers have the D-pad low like this, right? Now, look what you can do. You can keep your thumb right here on the stick. You can tap it like that. And I have small hands and I can still do that. Now imagine somebody with bigger hands, this could be a lot more easier. So now you can keep your thumbs on the stick and tap if you have some sort of power up right here, or changing your grenades. I do play Halo Infinite and you can change your grenades right here. So now you can do that if you like that, while keeping your thumbs on the stick. Give you a demonstration on the Elite 2. See, it's very hard to reach because it sits so low, so you really have to take your finger my finger's coming off. I feel more comfortable like this. To really press it down. It might look like I'm reaching it, but then I still have to press down. See, when I press down, then my finger comes off. So that right there is going to be a minor inconvenience for the Elite 2, but this right here is just something that can give you a little advantage. Not going to be a big advantage, but just a little advantage. Now also another thing I want to talk about that's very important is going to be turned around again. Let's look right here. You don't see any trigger stops on this one, right? So at first glance you are going to be disappointed because when you turn it around for the Elite 2, right, you can see it right here, the trigger stops. They're set right there where they're set to press down a little bit, put them back to the default right here. And then right here, look, to press all the way down. If you are trying to play a competitive shooter, this can give you, again, a nice little advantage right there. Another middle, another. The distance, it's not that much to make them activate, so you can technically shoot it a little bit faster. So definitely love to have trigger stops. The Elite 2 has it. Now this one right here, like I said, it might appear that it doesn't have trigger stops, but if you go into the menu right here, look, you hold down the home button for a few seconds, the type of connection you're trying to connect, go to button mapping, and then you go to trigger mode right there. Trigger mode, you can choose the left trigger or the right trigger. Let's go to the right trigger right there, trigger lock. You click on it, look right here. Now I'm able to press more down because it's all the way over here. We go back to right here. Then we go, look, not as much. So it has a similar mechanism like the Elite 2. And in fact, if you do go into the app, the Apex 4 comes with its own app on the computer, you can actually control the trigger locks all the way from 1 all the way to 100, and we're going to get into that. And that actually surprised me a whole lot, because you can actually make the trigger locks even to be very minimal like that. So nice detail right here. You have 3 options that are very similar to the Elite 2 straight off the controller, not even using the app. So very nice that you have that right there. Let me put them to right here, and I'll let you know what some of these modes on this controller are. So once again, you hold down the home button, the type of connection you're trying to connect your controller, button mapping, configuration switch. You can have 4 configurations. You have 4 games. You just load up your 4 configurations right there. And then your settings that let you control the brightness. Try to make the LEDs more brighter, right? If you're playing at night, maybe you want them less bright in case somebody is right next to you. You can make it more bright if you do want to pop a little bit more, right? And the room is not that dark. So very nice details. I do like that they added stuff like that. Switch the language, reset all your settings of the controller back to default. Vibrate, you want to have the vibration on, how much of it. And then right here, hibernate. This is going to turn the controller off after 1 minute of inactivity, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, or never. Always stays on. So you can have it set to how you like. I do have it right here at 15. And then about, it's going to tell you the controller version, screen version, all the little info, so you can make sure your controller is up to date. Alright, go back to the start, connect the connection you want. We talked about these other ones, but let's dive into more to the button mapping. Right here, we talked about the trigger mode, the trigger locks. Now if you go to normal, it's going to, look at that, you no longer have trigger locks at all. It presses all the way down. You go right here, the trigger lock, right there. Then to that one, even right there, stops right there. But if you go to normal, all the way down, default, just like a regular Xbox controller. Okay, just for the right one, I'm focusing on the right one. The left one, you see, there's the left LT, the right RT. Now what does sniper do? Okay, we're controlling the right trigger. I shoot with my right trigger. Look right here. Just put a little bit of tension right here, similar to when you're holding the gun and you're holding the trigger. You can feel that tension, and then when you press down, you saw that? Like a gun. Give you that somewhat realistic right there. You can feel the tension when you pull the trigger. So that's a nice detail. If you are trying to have the game you're playing feel more realistic, you can put it to the sniper mode. So when you do press on a weapon, for example like a sniper, you'll feel the little jolt. So that's a nice detail. Race is going to be, if you do like playing racing games, right? When you press down right here, you have tension now. Trigger has tension, like a gas pedal. When your foot is pressing down, you feel the tension on that pedal. That's all this is. You don't get no jolt. You see that? It's just tension all the way through. It's kind of light right here, then it gets more tension as you press down. This could be that race mode for racing games. For recoil, if you do have a gun, for example like a machine gun, you do want the recoil of it. Look at that. You feel that right there. And then you can have it vibrate a little bit more in the setting where we switch the vibration, right? Right here is vibrating to what I had it set to. But if you want to increase the vibration, you're going to have that finger moving a lot more. And then right here is going to be a vibration. Now this right here, I don't feel nothing on it right now. Maybe it has to be when you're actually playing a certain game or something's going on in game, you're going to feel that vibration going on right here. Okay, but just know that's a vibration mode. So there you have it for these modes for the triggers. Okay, you control the right or the left. Each one you can set it differently depending on what you like, right? You can have this one be like a sniper, and you can have right here a whole bunch of recoil if you want this one to have recoil, right? So very nice details that you can do that. So now we're going to go into that button edit mode right here. This is going to be for mapping your buttons. We'll press it and go to button. Now right here you're going to have M1, M2, M3, and M4. That's going to reflect the buttons underneath. You are going to have M1 right here, M2 on this side, and then M3 and M4. Hopefully you can see it with the camera. So pretty much the way you map this is very simple, right? Go right here to button. I want to switch my M4 button, which is this one right here. I want to switch that one, so I press the A. Now I can map whatever I want. Now this bottom button is going to be my zoom. Right there. But if I want crouch right there, I press the A. Now it's the B. See, now I have B, which is the crouch button right here. So you see how that works? Very nice details, very easy. And you can do that with all the other buttons as well. You press A, then whatever button you want. Switch it to the Y. You want A, want it to be A, there it is. Go back to the B. Right there. So that's how you do that. We'll back out. Then there's the test mode, which lets you test this A, this is B, X, this is Y. You see that? Now I'm going to press down here. This one. Tell me M1, M2, M4, M3. There we go. And then right here we're going to have that circle. Hold the circle for 2 seconds to exit the test mode. And if we go to button mapping, there's also where it says button edit, 2 more options, turbo and macro. I don't know how to use those 2 options, but if you are familiar with those, then you have those available in this controller also with the app. And I mainly focus on button mapping. That's what I like to do, and you can use those for competitive gaming, the button mapping, right? And we are definitely going to dive in and see what else we can do with the app. So that's the Apex 4, very similar to the Elite 2 and some of the other top tier controllers out there. Has a lot of nice quality functions. I did want to talk about a few more other things. For example, before we dive into the app, I'm going to turn this controller off and show you something that this controller can do. Going to unplug it. We're going to take the sticks off, put them right here to the side. What I want you to see is that you can actually take the cover off. This is how you're going to do it. Easiest way without messing up the controller. Hold it right here, and then with your hand pull the cover off. Like that. Comes off just like so. Now right here what you can do is you can pull out this little tool that comes right here. Has a magnet, so easy to put back in. You can adjust the tension of the sticks, and that right there is very key. I do that with my Elite. Right, here's my Elite. It also comes with a little tool similar like this one, where you put it right here and turn it, and then you can control the tension of these sticks. You can do it with the both sticks, but right here with the Apex 4, you control the tension. You can see it right there. You could turn it left or you could turn it right. Right is going to tighten that stick, and left is going to make it a lot more looser. Now right here, I already put these to how I like them, right? Just put it in here. You see, you turn it and you turn it back. So you can see that. Right there. A little bit more. There we go. That's how I like this right one. Now Now the way you put everything back is going to be very similar. You just repeat the steps backwards. Put the face cover back on. Goes back on nice and smooth. No problems. You look at the D-pad. Just line that up. It's only gonna fit one way. Very straightforward. Now the sticks might be the hardest portion of it, but I'm going to give you a close-up. You can see there's grooves right there. Just match that groove. This one would be easier to see with the camera right there. You see, match that groove. You're not gonna have any trouble putting them back, and it's going to be very easy. So you don't want to be pressing down too hard trying to make it fit. See, there's the groove. Just match it right there, very easy. There we go. All back to normal, just like we want it. Let me hook this back on. Then turn it on. Always love to see that when it turns on. So it makes you want to hop on and play. Now, if you take a look, you have right here the start button, then the windows. Pulling up the scoreboard on the left side. You're going to have them higher up on the controller. Right here, just a minor inconvenience. They're up here. So to me, when I started playing, it made no difference really. Just going like this. Minor inconvenience. So now let's get into the Apex 4 app that you can get for your PC. All you have to do is download it from the Flydigi webpage. And let me tell you, it is very easy to use and it's very similar to the Elite 2 app that you get from Xbox. So that's going to be very amazing. I was able to do a lot of things and I'm going to explain some options that you have. Now I do have the app open and you can see right here, this is what it's going to look like once it opens up. It is going to detect the controller you have and just put you directly to the configuration page. It's going to be called the Flydigi Space Station. So just look that up for the Flydigi webpage. You'll find it, download it, and then open it up. And like I said, it's going to look like this once you open it up. So right here we do have a couple options. As you can tell, the home is going to be a summary of everything you have going on. Like I said, I do like the button mapping option. You can tell right here that I have mapped the LT, the left trigger to the M2. That's going to be underneath here, M2 on this side. The M2. See right here, M2. Going to be right there. Then I have on M4 the B, and then on the M3 I do have changing grenades, and then I do have for M1, there's going to be for the game I play, pinging enemy locations. So it's very easy how you want to map this. You just go to what you want, for example like right here, and then it will ask you press any button and that's going to map what you want. Now I press B. Now I can switch this to A. I'll press A. Look at that. Now it's an A. But I do like it as B. You see, you can do that with everything. All the face buttons right here, the front buttons, the A, B, X, and Y, you can change them, move them around. You can move the bumpers, you can move the triggers, you can even move the start or the select if you want to have it in one of these M2, M4, M3, M1. Even if you really want to have some of them, you see them, you can move them to a different location. If you want the B to be where start is at, you can actually have that if that way you prefer. But that would be a crazy configuration, right? That would be something crazy. And you press X to get out. So very simple, similar to the Elite 2. The Elite 2 does give you a different type setup, but very easy to use. I do love it a whole lot. You saw how easy it was for me to change that right there. Now we go to joystick. You can see that you can control the left joystick and the right joystick. Now for my left one, I did go down right here. It was on default, but I do want it to be a little bit more snappy, more responsive, so I put it to instant. You have it classic mode, instant, delay, or something custom. You can move it around to what you like. But with the Elite 2, I always switch it to instant, and that's going to be this left joystick. Why I like that? Because I like this one to move as fast as possible. With my guys strafing, I do like it to move as fast as possible, left and right, or even if I'm trying to get away, I could go forward running as quick as I can. Now for the right joystick, I do like having it as default. Why I leave this right one as default? Because I don't want it to be too snappy. I feel when it's too snappy, at least for my playstyle, I tend to miss more shots. I like it to be on default. That's what I noticed for me that works the best. That's how I like it. Also, when I did do the tightening the tension of the sticks, I always leave this one more loose and I put this one more tighter. That's just a configuration that I like, again, because if it's more loose, I can feel that I can move quicker. If I want to go left fast, I could just go like this without that much tension, nothing holding me back. And if I want to shoot, I don't like this to be too loose again, right? I like to have a little bit of tension where I could be more precise with my aiming. And then again, also with the right joystick, I do leave it on default for that same reason. So that's what works best for me. So I love that you control the curves of the sticks. Very nice detail that the app lets you do. You can also even have a gyro, which is, I didn't even know what that was because I never use it, but it's pretty much something that you can add to your controller where you move your controller, and depending on how you're moving your controller is the POV that you're going to get on the screen. If you do use it, you know what it is, but you do have that option if you want to add it later down the line. Now we go into the trigger section right here. It's going to let you control these triggers, how you want to have them set up. There's going to be the normal mode, the racing mode, the recoil mode, sniper mode, trigger mode, and vibration. Look at that. You can control the vibration, how much you want it, how much the frequency, the recoil, how much the intensity, sniper, how much jolt you want, how much resistance, and then racing mode, how much damping you want. We talked about that already. But what I like to do is go into the triggers. We're looking at the left trigger. It's at 80 right now. Look at that. It's at 80. If we go all the way to 200, let me turn the controller so you can see. It's at 200. Look at that. You can press it all the way down at 200. Now if you go to 1, can hardly press it. That right there is going to be a problem for me because any little touch is going to set off that weapon or throw grenades or use your power up. So I already tested this out, and for me, I do like my left trigger to be at 35. I do get a little bit of pressing down to get a nice little movement. 35 is or 40 is going to be very similar to my Elite. My Elite, look at that. That's going to be the trigger stop to the lowest one, the one at the bottom. You get about this much movement. Now 35 on my left side, you get similar movement. Look at that. So I'm very comfortable with it at 35 for my left side, but for my right side, let's go to trigger lock. I do like it at 20. And grab it. I do like it at 20 or 15. Right now I'm going with 20 and going to experiment, but look at that right one and then that left one. The reason for it is I do like a little bit of push when I'm strafing on my left, so I do like it at 35. And then for my sniper or shooting weapons, I do like it to be fast. So 15 or 20 works. Like I said, I'm still experimenting what I like best, 15 or 20. But definitely on my left side, I do like my strafe having a little push down, because if it is at 15 or 20, I feel that he crouches a little bit too fast before my character moves. Like my character is starting to move and he's already crouching. I do like timing my crouch where he can crouch like right here, crouch at the end of it when I'm switching direction. So 35 works very nice for me. I do have good muscle memory at 35. And then I do love you can lower the trigger stop all the way to 15, right? Just look at that. Then we compare it with the Elite 2. You do get a little bit more right here, a little bit more. So that right there is going to be very helpful for my playstyle. And there you have this section right here, the dampening. Going to general, you can even control the intensity of the LEDs, right? You can put it to the brightest. It's at 100. Then we can lower it to 1, where it's not going to be as bright at night. Even the timing of it is at 50, so you can't really see it right now, right? Let's make it more brighter. It was at 1, now it's at 20. Let's go all the way up to 100. Put it to 1 where you couldn't see nothing, and then now it's back to 100. Going now to 50. Also, you change the timing of it. You put the timing very low. You can see that the color, the LEDs, is going to be changing rapidly. Then you put the time at 100, is going to go very slow. Just give it some time. Let me take it off like that. There we go. See how it's taking a lot longer for the LED to switch color? There we go. You have to click out for it to register. There it is. Does a little color change? You know it has been activated. Changing color a little bit faster. So right here, vibration intensity. Also, if you like to increase your vibration, you can do it right there. You can turn the vibration on or off. I have it off. You can also test that vibration speed. Right here I do have it off, so let me turn it back on. Then you have the intensity. But I'll give you a demo. You can see them spin. Look at that. That's so cool. You can see how they spin. Move the intensity all the way to 100. It says right here, grip. Spinning faster. Go to 26. That's crazy, huh? Controller that you can look inside of it while the vibration is happening. Insane. Crazy good. But like I said, when I play a competitive shooter, I don't like having vibration on. That messes me up. So I do have them off for my preference. So you can see you can do a lot right here with the triggers. Control the LEDs. Forgot to mention, right here is gradient. The color changes gradually, but this is going to be the breath mode. let me click out of it. See, it's a little bit different. Kind of goes dark and then comes back on. You saw the gradient, the feedback. It's on feedback mode. When you press it, look at it. It's going to be feedback mode and then steady. It just stays on like that. One more time, breathing mode. Loses color for a little while. Gradient, nice transitions. Okay, let me give it a click out so I can activate. There we go. Nice transitions, no black. Feedback, and click out. And then steady. Then even off. You don't want no LEDs at night. You don't want to wake up your partner. You're sneaking at night playing. You don't want your parents knowing that you're playing, right? Just turn them off. That's right here. Breathing, gradient, feedback, steady, and on. I'll put it back to gradient. So as you can tell, this app gives you a lot of features. You can change the LEDs. You control a lot of it. The brightness, the timing. Also, the vibration, you control the intensity, you can program your triggers how you like them. A gyro if you do use that. The joysticks, you can control the curves on both sticks, and then you can map your buttons also. And the home screen gives you a summary of everything that you did. Like your triggers right here, your left one and your right one, they're on trigger locks. Your LEDs are at gradient, the brightness is at 50, the vibration is at 50 even though it's off. I did map one button to LT. The gyro is off, and then your joysticks and the curves we talked about. And then also right here it does have that we do have M1, M2, M3, and M4, the back buttons that are mapped. So a nice summary right here with the home page. And then right here you do get 4 configurations. So if you do play 4 games, you can have one configuration for one. You can have a second configuration, different button layout for that different game, and so on. Different configuration for that fighting game. You can see it's blank up here because I haven't programmed anything. Same thing with the fourth, but for the one I showed you, this is what I have going on. Now that's going to be for your PC configuration. You can also go right here where it has adaptive triggers. That's going to be for certain games. You can find certain games that already have the programming available. Then they'll give you adaptive triggers, kind of like a PS5 controller DualSense. Also right here, screen settings. That's how you can change this GIF right here. I'll show you. I'll grab this one. Very easy. You find one of the GIFs that they have suggestions, or you can add your own. Upload a file. My GIF. Gonna add this one. Apply. Gotta give it some time. It's loading. 7%, 8%, 10%. It says right here, uploading. So when that's done uploading, I'll show you what that looks like. So I finished uploading to the controller. Just look at that. The logo with some cool flames. If you want to restore it, you just go back right here. click on settings, and then you go restore default. And now we're back to the default image. Very nice. And if we go to the test section, right there, you can test the controller. You can press the controller. It'll let you know what buttons you're pressing to make sure everything's working correctly. And then also, if you move the sticks, just look at that. You can read the polling rate right there. You are getting around 1,000 hertz, sometimes a little bit under, and then sometimes it reaches that 1,000 hertz. That's gonna be very good because quality mice, you have a mouse that's very good, you are gonna get the standard is going to be around 1,000 hertz. Anything reaching that level or more is going to be considered very good. So to get that on a controller, very nice. And also, if you do look up the information on this controller, it also says it's going to be 1 ms response time. So again, polling rate of 1,000 hertz and then 1 ms response time. Very solid PC controller, very solid. And then if we go from the test to the switch mode, this is going to be for the switch console. And like we talked about in the beginning of the video, this controller is designed for the PC or for the Switch. So there you can do your configurations for the Switch, and then over here for the PC, and also for the Android or for the iOS. But definitely not for PlayStation or for Xbox, at least yet. Maybe in the future they might add that option. But a very solid pickup for a PC. I definitely recommend it. And that's going to be the app for the Apex 4, and it's going to be called the Flydigi Space Station. Very easy to use. You saw there's tons of features where you can customize your controller how you want it. Now, if I do have to nitpick something from this controller, it's going to be this right stick pressing down on it. The right stick click. For my preference, I do like it to be a little bit more like the Elite 2, where there's more pressure. I feel there's more pressure pressing down right here, and I use this for meleeing. Now, I found myself meleeing at random times in the middle of a couple battles, and going to say out of the 4 sessions I had playing an hour and 30 minutes with this controller, I did find myself doing that on every one of the sessions. It's gone from doing it 5 times to around 2 for the last session that I did play with this controller. So definitely going to be some muscle memory, going to take some time, and that makes sense when you go from, for example, a Scuff controller, a Battle Beaver, to an Elite 2, and then to a Flydigi Apex 4. It's not going to be all the same. It's going to feel different, the texture of it, maybe the size, also how the buttons feel when you press down on them, the sticks, the triggers. Every controller is different, so it makes sense that there is going to be some micro adjustments for you. And for me, it's just going to be something minimal, but something I did find annoying in game. But it is going to improve. And then the other thing I mentioned that I didn't like so much is going to be where you leave your finger markings on the cover. You can see it right there, depending on how the light hits it. So it's just going to take a little bit of wiping if you are trying to keep your controller looking nice and clean. And that's something small compared with how good this controller is. You do get a lot out of it. I do love the trigger stops. You can fine tune them exactly how you want them. Also, it's a nice, neat detail that the D-pad sits somewhat high, right? It makes it easy for you to touch the D-pad and keep your thumb on the sticks. I do love the feel of the buttons. Here's ASMR. They are a little bit muffled, as you can tell. You don't really hear that pop noise. They're not that noisy, right? So that can help you out if you're trying to play at night, trying not to wake up your significant other, or like I talked about earlier, your parents said, hey, go to sleep, but you're out there at night underneath the bed or something, right? your brother's up top, you're underneath, and you're playing, and you're not trying to wake nobody up, this can help you out, right? It's not going to be as noisy. It still makes noise, but not as noisy as other controllers, right? Especially some of the controllers that are not as expensive, they tend to make more noise sometimes. So that's just something that can improve a little bit, the loudness of it. And like I said, I do love how it feels. The smoothness of it doesn't bother me at all. I love the grippiness underneath. Very nice grippiness when you're holding it, just like the Elite 2. And then the buttons are similar to the SCUF controller, but different, right? I do love the setup of it. We talked about that. This definitely works for me. And you're not gonna get an audio jack, right? For example, some controllers have an audio jack. This one you're not going to have one. So you're going to need to connect your headset to your PC. That's how that's going to work. And there you have the charging station. If you do have one, you can charge it right here. If not, the cable works fine, powers up your controller straight from the computer. So there you have it. And for me, it's definitely going to be number one, performance. The controller performs very well. And then you do have great aesthetic. That's going to be the second one. You put those two together and you have an amazing controller. Something that makes you want to play just by looking at it. And then when it performs to its potential and exceeds it, then you do have a great combo right there. So this is going to be the Flydigi Apex 4. I highly recommend it. Definitely going to be the controller I'm using from now on. No stick drift. Love to see it. And like I said, in the US, the price tag is 160 USD, but maybe you can find it in other places for less, or you can find a coupon out there. So that's gonna do it for us for today. If you did get something out of this video, please sub and like. I am a smaller channel. Every little bit goes a long way. We'll be back next time with more. Until then, peace and much love, gaming family.